Alkimi is a decentralized replacement for the current, sometimes inefficient ad exchanges. And Alkimi has a mission to restore value for advertisers, publishers, and also users. And with me, CEO Ben Putley, to talk about Alkimi and the company and what it is you're trying to do, Ben. So welcome. And I guess let's start with an overview. What is Alkimi?
Definitely. Thank you very much for having me. That was a great explanation. I'll try and do as good a job of explaining it myself. But essentially, myself and our co-founders have worked in advertising our entire careers, and we saw lots of issues with the current centralized system. So we have developed decentralized infrastructure that allows advertisers, publishers, and users to see more value from what is a $340 billion advertising market.
Mm-hmm. Well, no doubt about it. This market has been disrupted over the past few years and continues to be. So explain how it works. So like say I'm an advertiser, how do I use Alkimi?
So essentially the programmatically traded ads work a lot like eBay, for example, whereby there is an item or a user that an advertiser wants to target with a particular ad. They will then bid on that cookie in real time, with the highest bidder then winning the auction and then delivering the ad to that user.
Okay, very interesting. And Web3, what kind of impact would that have?
So I think like if you look at the whole kind of Web 1, Web 2, Web 3 story, like Web 1 was simply just reading on the internet, you know, it was pictures of newspapers that were online. And then Web 2 kind of ushered in this read-write scenario where you and I could leave comments on an article, and businesses like Facebook came in and kind of actually created some value in the like, you know, like you and I have some kind of perceived value in a like as far as like social equity is concerned. And then brands now have actually also seen values in like shares, views of content on these platforms, which arguably was kind of like the first NFTs really, you know, like a non-fungible like has value defined by brands and users. You know, Web 3 will really be about the user in general. You know, there's open source solutions that can be created and forked for particular use cases, and Alkimi Exchange actually brings the user into this auction for the first time because it's our data that is sold and bought by advertisers, you know, but we don't really see much value from that other than free content. But you get free content anywhere now, and that is not going to suffice as we move kind of into the future in the Web3 world.
Right. Well, I did say users would see some value here. So how would it work as a consumer?
So essentially, there would be no real difference to you when you visited your favorite website. It is using the existing infrastructure. So there's infrastructure called OpenRTB. It's an open source protocol that allows ads to be traded between different parties. And that really is kind of arguably the first oracle that ever existed. It was kind of transforming me as a human being into a biddable bit of data that an advertiser would use to send a particular ad to. So I think we've been left out of that. I mean, advertisers make a lot of money, Facebook and Google make a lot of money, publishers make a lot of money, and you and I, who are providing the data, don't really get much for that. And actually, we've seen annoying ads come into place. You may block an ad. You've probably seen a lot of cookie notices that now appear. And I think that the web has kind of, it's not unregulated per se, but it's like a much, much easier market to enter as an individual than anything else. Like TV, for example, you have to have a TV channel, you know, like a website, you create a blog, you get some people reading it, all of a sudden you have a vehicle that you can actually physically monetize. So I think what we're looking to do in the Web3 world is actually reward users for surfing the internet, because you have surfaced some of your data, you have made that available for people to bid on. So you should actually be paid for surfacing that data. There's a great quote in the Netflix show, The Social Dilemma, which is, if you aren't paying for a product, you probably are the product.
You're the product.
You know, I don't pay for Facebook, so I'm the product, right? And I think that's unfair. And it's where you've seen a lot of backlash from a lot of people around these particular brands and just surfing the web in general, you know, like it's not just Facebook that have been bad for this, everyone's been bad. So by respecting the user, by understanding how they browse the internet on whichever device they find themselves browsing it on, and rewarding them for surfacing that data, we may see fewer ads. There'll be the ads that are there are more engaging because there's less of them, frankly, and they're not annoying you as much, and then, you get rewarded for surfacing data. It's as simple as that, I think. And that is a real lane shift for the internet in general, because it needs to be funded somehow. That is funded by advertising at the moment, and we need to make sure the internet stays around. It's an amazing invention.
Absolutely. No, but I do feel like there is a movement growing as people become more aware of their data and how it's used and how they're marketed to, that they should get a little piece of that as well, because they're providing the content on Facebook or whatever. So, it's a... I
think to tie that into your first question, like what part does Web3 have to play in that? Web3 really provides the rails for you to kind of be rewarded as an individual for the first time, because there was no way of doing that effectively, efficiently with the current existing centralized systems.
Good point. So Web3 has the technology where people can actually get some benefit from their data.
Exactly that, yeah.
You mentioned NFT. So is this also kind of a metaverse play, perhaps, or sometime in the future?
So we think that, Facebook literally changed their name to Meta. So I think there's a lot of CMOs right now that are like, what is a metaverse? We need to be in it. I don't quite understand that. And I think advertising has always followed eyeballs. And you have whole cohorts of young people, gamers now, that are playing in metaverses, that are creative, that are buying outfits for their particular skin. You've seen like Balenciaga actually do a deal with Fortnite to give you Balenciaga outfits in the game. You have Travis Scott doing gigs in Fortnite. So metaverses are already here in a much more centralized fashion, I think, with the nature of decentralization. And I always say that every human being has kind of literally been decentralized, in that you've been forced to your house, to stay in your house because of the pandemic. So technology will probably follow what we have all experienced as human beings, right? And metaverses will become a part of that. And if that happens, there will be advertising in metaverses. And we released a series of NFTs called Alex the Alchemist to allow us to begin to experiment with ways in which an NFT could be used for a marketing campaign, whether that's rewarding loyalty with discount codes, whether that's using it to access information behind a particular paywall. It really allows you to have a marker in a Web3 wallet that can then affect certain changes depending on which portal you arrive in. We were incubated by a company called Constellation Networks, and they had Chief Strategy Officer Benjamin Diggles. This is his quote, but I think it's particularly pertinent, is that Spotify's USP, other than great music, is your preferences of that music. The playlist that you've created, the artists that you follow, the albums that you've liked. But really, if you could extricate your preferences from that platform, you could probably create a better listening experience for yourself.
Well, thank you so much. Been fascinating. And I know this is a fast moving industry, so I look forward to updates from you.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Keeping your four-legged friends healthy can certainly be a challenge, especially with painful joint diseases like osteoarthritis. If you see a change in your animal's mobility, contact your veterinarian and don't wait. Today, veterinarians have a new tool against joint disease. Introducing Spring with OsteoCushion technology. The natural-derived product has the ability to help your animal move more freely. Put the spring back in their lives for a longer, happier life.
Here at Glint, we're making money fairer. How? By using gold. Glint lets you store, exchange, send, and spend multiple currencies, including gold, through a simple iPhone or Android app. You can spend your currencies and your gold in small or large amounts using the Glint MasterCard. Register for your Glint account today by downloading the app from your favorite app store. Glint, the global currency.
Secure, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. Secure is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. Secure doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download Secure. Visit secure.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Growing clones in-house can severely drain both quality and costs for cannabis and hemp businesses. Most conventional cloning techniques today can produce genetic drift along with disease and bugs, resulting in lower product quality and consistency. PharmaGreen Biotech is the key to growing high-quality plantlets. Our proven proprietary technologies allow us to produce pharma-grade cannabis and hemp flower tops. PharmaGreen's services includes premium tissue-cultured starter plantlets and live preservation of any plant species. We're determined to be one of the top suppliers of tissue-cultured starter plantlets and producers of the highest quality flower tops of cannabis and hemp. Grow into the future of optimized plant growth with PharmaGreen. See our updates at update.pharmagreen.ca.
Cyber attacks are a global threat affecting consumers and companies. Whether you're using your computer or mobile device to bank, shop, or work remotely, your privacy and corporate data are at risk. For over 20 years, STRIKEFORCE Technologies has developed some of the world's leading cybersecurity solutions. Millions of users around the world have put their trust in us to protect what matters most. Your privacy and data are your business. Protecting it is ours. Visit StrikeForceTech.com today.
Starfleet Innotech is involved in a variety of businesses: asset management, food service, franchising, looking to expand into the U.S. as well. So with me is Santiago Arnaiz, the General Manager Communications for Starfleet, just to bring us up to date as we head into the new year, Santiago, about what kind of things Starfleet is doing. I understand there's a plan to uplist to the NASDAQ. So let's start with that. Explain where that is.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jane. That's completely correct. So internally, we've been referring to that as our 1,000-day challenge. It's an ambitious goal, uplisting to the NASDAQ in the next 3 years, but one I think that we're really well positioned to take on. Our strategy so far can be summed up as innovation through disruptive collaborations. Essentially, we invest in high-growth businesses. We support their transformation through tech, partnerships, and opportunities. Then we leverage our global presence to help them scale exponentially. So 2021 was a big year of restructuring for SFIO, growing our global portfolio of companies, consolidating resources, streamlining our corporate structure. And today, SFIO has 3 core divisions: F&B, as you mentioned, F&B, real estate, and technology. And those 3 divisions really represent the pillars of our roadmap over the next 3 years. Mm-hmm. So just to give some examples, right? So with F&B, our flagship Epiphany Cafe, we see this as our vehicle for entering new global markets. So this year, we're exploring expansions across Southeast Asia and here in the US as well, as you mentioned, largely around the Midwest. Mm-hmm. And to fuel that expansion, we have our real estate division, representing high yield projects, the proceeds of which will be reinvesting in future growth. We ended 2021 announcing some really exciting and innovative township projects that we are this year breaking ground on. And finally, technology functions as our enabler, underpinning all of our efforts. Right? So this is a division I'll be working closely with as SFIO's General Manager for Communications. In terms of strategy, this division will not only augment business operations, unlock innovative new revenue streams, and grow our intellectual property assets, but will really serve as the backbone of our entire conglomerate as we invest in structuring SFIO as an agile organization. Okay,
kind of the core business is what that part is. So now you mentioned you're the new General Manager of Communications. So it's the first time we've met. So explain your role. What do you envision yourself doing over the next year or so?
Yeah, so to accomplish our goal of uplisting, we really needed to accomplish 3 things, right? So exponential growth across our core divisions, clear, consistent messaging, and a strong community united by a culture of collaborative innovation. So as the General Manager for Communications, my job is to support each and every one of our units, aligning our efforts and focusing our messaging as a community. Of course, it's a largely external facing role, as we'll be constantly operating in concert with our many stakeholders, customers, partners, investors, but also it's a largely internal facing role. SFIO is a global conglomerate. We have teams operating across New Zealand, Australia, Dubai, the Philippines, Malaysia, New York. So to accomplish our expansive mission, we need a united front. And as I mentioned, SFIO is heavily investing in building its agile framework. So part of that is establishing that lean, agile mindset of decentralized decision-making, organizing around value, building systems incrementally, iteratively. So to do all of that, there's a lot of work that needs to be done to build the right environment, to create the right culture and establish the right systems for us to stay connected as one team. So like I said, my role will be to work closely with the tech team to develop SFIO's agile framework, starting with a dynamic culture of innovation, wherein each of us working across F&B, real estate, support services, top management, and so forth, plays a key role in forging new partnerships and really transforming our community.
Okay, that sounds absolutely fascinating. So thank you so much, Santiago, for joining us. I look forward to hearing as all these projects become available this year.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jane.
Thank you.
Here at Glint, we're making money fairer. How? By using gold. Glint lets you store, exchange, send, and spend multiple currencies, including gold, through a simple iPhone or Android app. You can spend your currencies and your gold in small or large amounts using the Glint MasterCard. Register for your Glint account today by downloading the app from your favorite app store. Glint, the global currency.
Keeping your four-legged friends healthy can certainly be a challenge, especially with painful joint diseases like osteoarthritis. If you see a change in your animal's mobility, contact your veterinarian and don't wait. Today, veterinarians have a new tool against joint disease. Introducing Spring with OsteoCushion technology. The natural-derived product has the ability to help your animal move more freely. Put the spring back in their lives for a longer, happier life.
Cyber attacks are a global threat affecting consumers and companies. Whether you're using your computer or mobile device to bank, shop, or work remotely, your privacy and corporate data are at risk. For over 20 years, STRIKEFORCE Technologies has developed some of the world's leading cybersecurity solutions. Millions of users around the world have put their trust in us to protect what matters most. Your privacy and data are your business. Protecting it is ours. Visit StrikeForceTech.com today.
Clones in-house can severely drain both quality and costs for cannabis and hemp businesses. PharmaGreen Biotech is the key to growing high-quality plantlets. PharmaGreen services includes premium tissue cultured starter plantlets and live preservation of any plant species. Grow into the future of optimized plant growth with PharmaGreen. See our update at update.pharmagreen.ca.
Solar integrated roofing starting 2022 with lots of new goals. So with us to explain is Pablo Diaz, the president, and Troy Cylmer, the COO. And I know you've so smart brought your new deck here so we could share it with us. So I'm just going to let you guys go and I'll interject some questions. But tell me what are you looking forward to this year?
Jane, Happy New Year, first off. And I wish we were there with you in the studio, having a little bit of winter in the Midwest. Pablo's in warm weather, but we've got some real exciting news. I'm going to let Pablo take the lead and pop us through it. We just had our best quarter ever. And we want to talk to you about some of those highlights and some of the other exciting things going on culturally and with our people and growth.
Yeah, it's actually been it's a super dynamic last quarter. And really, Jane, if you think back about 6 months ago, we had met and we had discussed about all the objectives that we were trying to fulfill. And we really put, the metal to the grind and worked hard and drove discipline throughout the ranks and really focused on processes and procedures and efficiency. And our numbers are now, they're projected into a reality. So our proof is in our pudding, pardon me. And just a quick corporate overview. We had our biggest revenue quarter to date historically at $48 million, net income at $18 million, Our balance sheet's looking real strong with 132 million in assets and 62 million in liabilities. I mean, we've really grown and continue to grow.
Yeah, well, I know that balance sheet thing was something you were really trying to target. So it sounds like you're making a lot of progress there.
Yeah, it's been definitely a pointed effort, and really, as we see these future acquisitions that we're going to be discussing, we're expecting this balance sheet to double within a short range of time.
Mm-hmm. And what do you attribute that to?
So definitely the acquisitions that we brought on in the last year have added really, we had 75% of our revenue was from our new acquisitions, but it's also a lot of the centralized services that we put into effect, and Troy's been a guiding force there. We centralized our treasury, we centralized our accounting, our HR, our technology, and our finance division, and in the middle of centralizing our procurement. All of those added to margins and increased that, which allowed our origination centers, which are our brands, to focus on production, and the system is working.
Mm-hmm. And then, I just feel like, the solar industry has gotten so much attention. It's got government support. Consumers love it. I mean, are you seeing that? Is there as much of a wind in your back as what it seems like to the average consumer?
It genuinely is. We're in a paradigm right now where we're transitioning from fossil fuels to alternative energy, and there isn't a more subsidized market. But for that matter, the capital markets have really got behind this push. So there's a lot of money moving, and if you have the proper infrastructure in place and all the moving pieces are accurately working together. I mean, literally, we just inked a deal with our EV charging company, Plemco, for a golf course yesterday, and that golf course is associated with another 200 golf courses. So it's almost like a positive virus. It just spreads on itself, and each business brings the other business more business. The golf course is an example. Well, great, they wanted EV charging units, but while they were at it, they were talking about solar, and we have that solution there too. So our cross-pollination that we've been talking about with you for months and months is taking a real root, and then driving a lot of revenues.
It's really beautiful, Jane. And, what's interesting is they also need roofing, right? And this is, as Pablo mentioned, we're seeing this across the board. We have some wonderful new leaders in place, new CEO at Plemco, excellent gentleman named Brad Reinhardt that Pablo sourced. We've got a new CEO in place at Milholland Electric. And what we're seeing is these individuals are bringing their relationships to bear and their skill sets. And as our leadership team is rounding out now, Pablo has been able to add a new director of human resources who just started with us this week. We've got a new national director of procurement. And those additions with Wanda Wittislawski, our CFO, and Pablo and me, and our incredible visionary leader, David Massey, you're starting to see our corporate team really gel. Yeah. We added some folks to our integrations node as we're integrating these companies, and we're looking at several new acquisitions coming down the pike here in the next few months as well. So we continue to grow. Thank you so much, Pablo and Troy. Great to see you. Next time we'll see you in the studio.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Here at Glint, we're making money fairer. How? By using gold. Glint lets you store, exchange, send, and spend multiple currencies, including gold, through a simple iPhone or Android app. You can spend your currencies and your gold in small or large amounts using the Glint MasterCard. Register for your Glint account today by downloading the app from your favorite app store. Glint, the global currency.
Cyber attacks are a global threat affecting consumers and companies. Whether you're using your computer or mobile device to bank, shop, or work remotely, your privacy and corporate data are at risk. For over 20 years, STRIKEFORCE Technologies has developed some of the world's leading cybersecurity solutions. Millions of users around the world have put their trust in us to protect what matters most. Your privacy and data are your business. Protecting it is ours. Visit StrikeForceTech.com today.
Need hearing aids? Tired of paying $5,000 or more? Tired of making multiple trips to have your hearing aids adjusted? Now you don't have to. Our Hear IQ 4 medical grade hearing aids are fully rechargeable, Bluetooth compatible, and start at under $1,000 for a complete set or monthly payments of $44. Our hearing aids are self-adjusting using any smartphone and features remote programming by hearing care professionals without you ever leaving home. Order your pair today at myheariq.com.
Secure is an instant messaging and also email service that provides security for people who are tired of having their data hacked and targeted and marketed. So with me is the CEO, Alain Ghiai of Secure. And I know, Alain, we've talked several times. You have a little bit of news about the company in Latin America. So can you share that?
Sure. Hi, Jen, and hello to our viewers. So yes, what we announced is that we previously announced a launch with América Móvil, which is the 7th largest telecom operator in the world. It's the largest in Latin America. They have about 277 million subscribers. And in Mexico, their mobile operator is called Telcel. Any of our viewers that may have gone to Mexico, they're probably on the Telcel network when they go from their Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. So what's happening is first, we launch with what they call Region 9, which is Mexico City and the greater Mexico City, which, mind you, has 21 million people, bigger than some countries in Europe. So it is a big population, and it's kind of like the heart of the country. But what's really cool is that now they're launching in the other 8 regions, so the rest of Mexico. So if you go to Guadalajara, for example, or Cabo, you'll be able to buy a Secure Messenger. And what's even better than that is they have decided to launch in what they call their mass market. So mass market is essentially small, medium business, so SMBs and consumers. So the consumers that would buy, let's say, the Secure Messenger are typically going to be privacy sensitive, maybe a little bit more affluent people. There's a lot of problems with affluent people being followed, etc. And when you use WhatsApp or any of these other applications, they basically know your entire location. So somebody can not only get into your phone, see exactly where you bank, what you do, where you pick your kid up from school. Whereas with us, you don't exist. You can use the chat safely. You can chat with your lawyer, even if the other person doesn't have Secure. So the launch in Mexico is important because now it's going to be nationwide, which means that from Q2 onward, we should see a steady quarterly stream of subscribers coming in. And then down the road, maybe it's a year from now, 6 months, a year and a half, we're going to launch in another country of the América Móvil global empire. I mean, they're even in the US and Europe too, but we're going to do Colombia and maybe some other countries like that. Colombia probably would be the next country that we deploy. So we're pretty excited. It's been a long time in the making. And the integration that we did is literally with their billing. So the customer has no friction. They say, oh, I want Secure Messenger. It bills their mobile, and then they're done. They're activated. We don't have to collect anything from the customer. They don't have extra steps. So it's very seamless for the end user.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, congratulations on that. And it seems like, once you get those early big contracts, more come after, those early ones are the hardest ones to get. So, and then I know last time we talked, there was some business services that you were looking to launch, I believe in the first quarter. So where does that stand?
Yes. So right now, as of now, it's still on track. By the end of February or a little bit before, we are going to launch our business email service, which means that businesses can migrate their service to our hosting, keeping their domain name. That is huge for businesses. And we have a queue of businesses waiting for that. And what's interesting is we even have some schools. I mean, we have all sorts of businesses. So that's one thing. And the other thing that we're going to do in February is we're going to launch a multiple license account. So when you go to secure.com today, you can buy one license at a time. You have to contact support if you want 5 of them for your family or your business. Now you'll be able to pick as many as you want, and you won't be forced into these pre-made packages, 5, 10, 20 users. You just literally pick what you want and you buy them. So that's going to be in February. And end of March, we're still on track for the email application. So the business services will be the first step. Also email only. That'll come out around February. So Q1 is we got a couple of big products coming out, and we're on track so far.
Okay. Well, very exciting. I know you have a busy several weeks ahead of you. So thank you so much, Alain. And we look forward to next week. More updates.
Thank you, Jane. And thanks everyone for watching us.
Cyber attacks are a global threat affecting consumers and companies. Whether you're using your computer or mobile device to bank, shop, or work remotely, your privacy and corporate data are at risk. For over 20 years, STRIKEFORCE Technologies has developed some of the world's leading cybersecurity solutions. Millions of users around the world have put their trust in us to protect what matters most. Your privacy and data are your business. Protecting it is ours. Visit StrikeForceTech.com today.
Clones in-house can severely drain both quality and costs for cannabis and hemp businesses. PharmaGreen Biotech is the key to growing high-quality plantlets. PharmaGreen services includes premium tissue cultured starter plantlets and live preservation of any plant species. Grow into the future of optimized plant growth with PharmaGreen. See our update at update.pharmagreen.ca.
Aids? Tired of paying $5,000 or more? Tired of making multiple trips to have your hearing aids adjusted? Now you don't have to. Our Hear IQ 4 medical grade hearing aids are fully rechargeable, Bluetooth compatible, and start at under $1,000 for a complete set or monthly payments of $44. Our hearing aids are self-adjusting using any smartphone and features remote programming by hearing care professionals without you ever leaving home. Order your pair today at myheariq.com.
Here at Glint, we're making money fairer. How? By using gold. Glint lets you store, exchange, send, and spend multiple currencies, including gold, through a simple iPhone or Android app. You can spend your currencies and your gold in small or large amounts using the Glint MasterCard. Register for your Glint account today by downloading the app from your favorite app store. Glint, the global currency.
With me is Partrick, the CEO of GTX, and we're going to learn about GTX today and what all this company is about. So welcome, Partrick, and let's just start. Tell me about GTX. So what is the company? What is the mission?
We're in the health and safety business. We operate under 3 different business units. So we have our tracking and monitoring solutions. We manufacture and distribute medical supplies, and we license intellectual property.
Okay, so we got a nice overview. Can you give us a little more detail about each of those 3, exactly what happens in those units?
Certainly. So in our tracking monitoring unit, we're probably best known for our flagship product, which is the GPS Smart Soul. You may have seen this on the Keeping Up with the Kardashians show. It's an embedded GPS device intended to track and monitor people with cognitive memory disorders. Then in our medical supply division, we manufacture and distribute everything from masks to sanitizers, gloves, UV systems, and we sell that to both the consumer and to the medical community. And then we have a pretty extensive intellectual property portfolio and patents, and we license that out to other technology companies.
Interesting. Masks, sanitizers, COVID-19 test kits. I mean, it's a super hot area right now.
It is.
So, well, let's talk about your customer base. So who would your customers be?
So we sell everyone from the U.S. government to small, medium-sized businesses, to the medical community. We do a lot direct to consumer. We have a presence in over 35 countries. Many of our products are reimbursement eligible, so we work with insurance companies and government agencies as well, fire departments, police departments. We have a pretty wide gamut of customers, both domestically and international.
Well, and it's really interesting that you have, the masks, and these are some of the high quality masks, like the N95 masks and things, sanitizers. I mean, because early in the pandemic, we realized how much of this we get from overseas, but these are all made in the U.S., right?
A lot of them are, yes. We make our sanitizers we make in the U.S. Some of our masks we make in the U.S. As many, or face shields we're making in the U.S. As many products that we were able to source material for early on in the pandemic and manufacture and secure sourcing and manufacturing in the U.S., we did. I mean, obviously, we weren't able to do everything, but we did our best to. We're big promoters of Made in USA.
Okay. Very interesting to learn about GTX today, Partrick. I look forward to some more updates this year.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here at Glint, we're making money fairer. How? By using gold. Glint lets you store, exchange, send, and spend multiple currencies, including gold, through a simple iPhone or Android app. You can spend your currencies and your gold in small or large amounts using the Glint MasterCard. Register for your Glint account today by downloading the app from your favorite app store. Glint, the global currency.
Clones in-house can severely drain both quality and costs for cannabis and hemp businesses. PharmaGreen Biotech is the key to growing high-quality plantlets. PharmaGreen services includes premium tissue cultured starter plantlets and live preservation of any plant species. Grow into the future of optimized plant growth with PharmaGreen. See our update at update.pharmagreen.ca.
Secure, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. Secure is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. Secure doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download Secure. Visit secure.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
AITX makes smart security robots and has been very busy updating the products and unveiling new things. So I've got with me CEO Steve Reinhardt to talk about everything you've been up to. So Steve, give me a kind of a capsulated, and then we'll go deeper into detail.
Sure. Jane, it's been incredible since we've last talked. And I want to be very specific. I don't want to fill our call with, hyperbole. Over the past 2 months since we've talked, we've closed some major new deals. We've raised some money at great prices for our retail stockholders. We've unveiled new products. We've added new team members. And we've done all of that in 2 months. It's been a whirlwind. And of course, Jane, as all that's been going on, we've had folks on the team and off the team for a little bit fighting COVID. It's been a remarkable 2 months.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, despite all of that, you still have made progress. Just even surviving is kind of hard enough, but you've managed to move forward quite a bit too.
Absolutely, we have. Yeah. And I talk about this all the time with the folks who follow the company, but it comes down to the team. We just have a great team that runs in sync and covers for each other, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the robot dog. Where does that stand or sit? But
Dog jokes. Nice, Jane. I love it. Listen, we're in development. I had said that it would be out, third quarter, hopefully, and definitely by fourth quarter. We're really shooting for second quarter, for the end of second quarter with it. And the collaboration is coming along pretty well.
Mm-hmm. And this is just for property security protection, right? The dog.
Starting with those features,
okay.
We want to bring to market the new proverbial junkyard dog. Mm-hmm. And we want to make it accessible to everybody And maybe one of the best things is there's no cleanup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very true. And also, so you're developing the brains for the dog, right? I guess would be the software. And then another company's doing the body. How does it all work? How does that work?
Well, there's a true technical collaboration, and they're doing, all the dog work, right? They have custom motors that move all the pieces and motor controls that handle all that. What we are doing is we're adding the navigation stack, which we've really pioneered through Romeo, as well as what we call our RAD pack, which is all the intelligence for the security package.
Mm-hmm. And if the RAD pack is separate, the intelligence, does that mean you might be able to use it for other devices?
It's exactly what we're doing, exactly what we're planning on doing. And we do that under our RAD group subsidiary.
Okay. And now robo-dogs, of course, we've talked about those, but you're now developing autonomous delivery vehicles? You really have got a lot going on.
Goodness. Oh, my goodness, Jane. That is true. In December, we announced it. Now, it's been something that we've been working on for a year and a half. It's just I needed to get Romeo to a certain point, and we're doing Romeo deliveries this month, which is huge. A couple of our early adopter customers are super excited to get their devices. But the plan was always to build a multifunctional chassis that could have applicability in other industries. Mm-hmm. The delivery vehicle is just the first iteration of that.
Okay. Do you have any plans for the delivery vehicle? I know there's some other companies working on it. Are there any specific target markets you're looking at with that?
There are. We're looking for campuses, basically closed environments. Okay. To start with. Mm-hmm. So again, large corporate campuses, college campuses, enclosed housing communities, those types of areas is where our starting market is. Now, from there, we've already started talking internally about doing last mile delivery, mm-hmm. but I've got to stay focused. We've got 15 or something development projects that I want to bring to market or finish or polish to some extent this year. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay. Yeah. It's a lot to keep track of. Romeo. So explain Romeo and update us on Romeo.
Romeo provides patrols and interaction with either good guys or bad guys on projects of different types. This could be recreational projects. This could be housing projects. This could be shopping areas, whatever it might be. But what it's designed to do is both alleviate the requirement for physical security guards to perform those services. And we have a massive human resources shortage in the security industry right now that we hope to fill with our devices, including Romeo. And it performs the operations of a security officer, or many of the operations of a security officer, in many cases even better than a human can perform.
Yeah, I can see that. Sometimes robots do kind of beat us. Steve, I am looking forward to getting all these updates on all these products and things that you're working on this year. So thanks for joining us, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Jane. Always a pleasure.
Here at Glint, we're making money fairer. How? By using gold. Glint lets you store, exchange, send, and spend multiple currencies, including gold, through a simple iPhone or Android app. You can spend your currencies and your gold in small or large amounts using the Glint MasterCard. Register for your Glint account today by downloading the app from your favorite app store. Glint, the global currency.
Growing clones in-house can severely drain both quality and costs for cannabis and hemp businesses. PharmaGreen Biotech is the key to growing high-quality plantlets. PharmaGreen services includes premium tissue-cultured starter plantlets and live preservation of any plant species. Grow into the future of optimized plant growth with PharmaGreen. See our update at update.pharmagreen.ca.
Pat Vivo works on products that give animals a second chance. And with me is the CEO of Pat Vivo, John Lai, to talk about all these exciting new things you have going on for the year. So do you want to start with the conference that you went to in Nashville? How was that?
Sure.
When was that? What was it?
Was mid-December, and we had a really good turnout. We had a couple of the U.S. Olympic vets in our booth. They actually stayed there for a while because one of them had been using our product for about 6 years, and then the other one just started using it. So they're like celebrities, and other vets recognized them. So we drew a good crowd and had a really good, successful show on the equine space.
Okay.
And then following that, we're getting good repeat orders from the vets that tried the product in December.
So that's what I was going to ask. Are these like vets who work on equestrian?
Yeah. It was the American Equestrian Practitioners Show. So I think that it's one of the larger shows in the equine space.
Yeah. And then tell me about VetCove.
Yes, so VetCove is a veterinary membership buying service. So vets are able to sign on and they're able to see the best pricing for various products. So we partnered up with them and our products are featured there, and we're looking forward to adding SKUs to the site. So the vets can buy direct through the system and they don't have to open an account with us. I mean, obviously, we like it when they open the account with us, but they're already on a system that they're buying person, because vets usually don't order. They have an office manager or a buying person that does the ordering. And if they're accustomed to say, no, we're used to buying through VetCove, we're just going to buy the spring through there.
And just, John, looking ahead to 2022, I mean, what are some other things that are part of your strategy this year?
Well, we're going to be expanding the SKUs or the line of products that we will have, and other pets, other types of animals that we will. I think recently one of the interesting ones is I think a manatee got injected with our product. We had a marine veterinary expert, and I looked and I go, she's an expert on dolphins and manatees. And then I Googled and I realized there's a high incidence of osteoarthritis in those animals. Huh. Yeah, it blew my mind when I saw this is going to a aquatic area. Well, what the heck? And then I looked up the person, and then I saw that she's one of the top experts on marine animals.
So that might be a new avenue you would pursue?
Well, we're not going to target, but people will order it. I mean, we have injected, like I said before, I think a grizzly bear, white Siberian tiger, a lot of billy goats, I think camels. So our product is being used for multiple off-label applications.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm sure this year will be full of more interesting things. So look forward to seeing you back in New York soon.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, John. Welcome to New to the Street. This is your secure segment with Alain Ghiai. Alain is with GlobeX Data, the leader in SWIS-hosted private and secure communications and data management. Welcome back, Alain.
Thank you, Anna, and hello to our viewer.
All right, let's talk about the hack of the day. Login credentials. We all have to do it. And often we think if there's the 2FA, that two-factor authentication app that we install, or it's there for us, we think it's safe, right? No, think again, especially from the recent article we're reading from Google Play, more than 10,000 downloads of this 2FA. And guess what? They're now exposed, especially their financial information. So tell us what happened and how we can avoid this.
Sure. So in this case, apparently there's an application called 2FA Authenticator, which since then Google Play Store has removed. But what it is this is one of those many applications where, let's say, some people that are a little bit more savvy technically, let's say they have their own VPN, they configure their own. These are mostly open source type software that are out there. unproven, unsecure. And here, the 2FA, which is two-factor authentication, is typically when you log into a website and then you're waiting for an SMS text to come to you, and then you have to put that little number that they send you. Now, in the US and North America, it is extremely well documented that those are fairly useless because most of the phone numbers have been spoofed, they're being recycled and so forth. That's a whole other discussion. But in this case, what happened is some people say they go to a website and they need a two-factor authenticator. They download one for free. In this case, 10,000 people downloaded. And what it did is that, let's say you go to, it doesn't have to be your bank, but maybe you put your credit card number to log in and buy something. It has gone into your phone and basically there's a malware that siphons your entire financial information. So that's pretty dangerous. And if you go to your e-banking using an application, I'm guilty of doing that myself. I'm not a fan of using the phone for that. But what I do is they don't have a 2FA. Mine has, you have to put your username and password. If it's a different device, it may send you verify the IP address and then sends you a code to make sure it's you. But I use my fingerprint. A lot of people are against that kind of thing, but really the fingerprint authenticator is the best one to have. It's what they call sometimes passwordless authenticator. So I don't believe in those 2FAs. We try to implement a couple. It's a comfort that some consumers may have thinking that they have the security. This is just another example of, no, you don't have extra security. Right. I'd say biometrics are the best security you can have out there. So unfortunately, if you have been one of the 10,000 that have suffered from that, I would recommend to completely change everything. So if you went to a website and put some of your credit card info or your banking or what have you, then completely change your password, your username, your email, etc. Obviously, uninstall the application. Make sure you don't just delete, you have to push uninstall, and that it's no longer on your phone. That's what I would recommend.
That's good advice.
That these things happen, that they happen every day now.
Happening more and more. So talk to us about secure. Have you all implemented 2FA?
It's a good question. So we have a plan to implement a version of a 2FA, I think in Q2. That means by June. But the big picture that we're trying to do is to use a company that I'll give them a little bit of free publicity here. It's called Hyper, HYPR. I've known them for 10 plus years. They're amazing. And they have all the certification. Many institutions use them, and they have what they call passwordless authentication or biometrics. It's a bit more complicated to install them. You need to do another installation with what we call a single sign-on, an SSO. And once we implement a SSO, then we can do that. But it's expensive. It costs $1 per month per user. So imagine if we charge $5 for the Messenger or $7 for the email only, $1 is just our cost for the authenticator. So we have to see what we will do. Our plan is to implement what they call passwordless biometrics, the latest technology you can get, hopefully by the end of 2022. And then we will see, do we charge extra? Do we give an option to a consumer? Or do we just absorb the costs and have that as an edge to the competition? But we are planning to do step by step those things.
Right.
Yeah. So I have a little tip for someone, if you're listening out there. As a password, I met quite a few of these, specialists in crypto, encryption and whatnot. And a lot of time they say a sentence is actually the best password. Obviously not a sentence. Like if you play golf, don't write your password being, I like to play golf. It has to be something completely different because there's a complexity to that is bigger than some of these passwords that you will choose. Obviously, the best thing to do is try to get a password manager. And if you want to make yourself a complex one, we have that in our Secure Suite application where you create a password, it does it for you. And if you want to have your own, it measures how strong it is. But, passwords are a tricky thing. It's not a simple thing to manage, and I feel sorry for people who have been breached because their password wasn't too strong, or the 2FA was just, not really a real security that's supposed to provide, right? So it's related to your phone number, so that's the danger. You send a text to someone, think about it. And then if your phone number is part of ones that are being watched, then they can read that text too.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's reiterate. Change your password and maybe use a sentence, right? Or the thumbprint. What about facial recognition?
Facial is good. I myself have a sticker on my cameras, front and back. So if I have to use a facial one, every time I have to take the sticker in and out, it's a bit of a pain. So I use the finger biometric. And you can have different finger. I use a Samsung S21 or whatever. I had an S9 not long ago. And you can have different fingers. And if you want to have fun with it, on some application, you use the thumb, and then you can change to the index. I mean, whatever you want, you can have fun with it. Register more than one fingerprint, both hands. And a lot of our consumers at the beginning, they said, well, I don't want to put my biometrics. It's not going to Google. It's really the biometric that's captured in the phone device. So there's a fine difference between sending your data to a cloud or having it on device. Eventually, yes, one can argue, but really you don't have a choice.
Right. We don't have a choice.
Biometric could be your eye for people who take a lot of photos and don't have stickers on their phone, or, because that camera can be remotely potentially activated. If you don't have anything like that, the iris biometric is really good. I recommend that. Some people have the voice, but biometric as opposed to 2FA, definitely.
All right. Thank you. And also, you've recommended getting a password manager, even if you have to pay for it. So that's another good tip for our viewers.
Yes, get a password manager. Unfortunately, our password manager is part of the Secure Suite, which is $50 a month. It's a business document management tool with password management and email. We are thinking of doing a password manager on its own, but there's 2 or 3 good password managers out there. Pay your $9, $10 a month and get a good one, and change your passwords every few months if you can.
Well, as always, thank you so much for helping keep our important information secure and private. Thank you for joining us again, Alain.
Thank you, Anna, and thanks everyone for watching us.